Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Rex. Rex is from England in the UK. So let's see what Rex has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, hello, Rex. How are you?
Very well. That's I appreciate the invite to come on and nice to meet you. And
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
my pleasure.
So, tell me, how was your day today?
Yeah, it's, quite a full-on day. My normal routine is going to the gym for a couple hours in the morning, but the past couple days I've felt a little bit off, and I feel that I've got a lot on my mind that I'm struggling to switch off and actually really enjoy sort of the gym and sort of wanting to use my time in a different way. Had a discovery call this morning with a potential new client, and then just trying to put more of my time and energy into my business.
I see. And when you are in your normal routine, how often do you go to the gym?
Near daily. The only times that I'll stop are if I'm really tired or I'm sick or injured, but I rarely get injured.
Tell me where you're from, Rex.
So I was born in England, then I grew up in Kenya. I went to an international school when I came back to England, and then I moved out to Australia for a year, and I've also lived in Austria, America, and South Africa.
Oh my God. So tell me a little bit about this journey. Why different countries?
So we moved out to Kenya when I was quite young because my dad wanted us to have an African childhood, because he grew up in South Africa and he thought it was very important to run around in nature and sort of do all these things that we never would have been able to in England. We came back because the schooling system wasn't the best out there after prep school, and then lived in Austria as a ski instructor. Went into Australia for a year walking camels along a beach, and then did a course in South Africa and America. I was trying to make things work with an old partner, but it didn't end well.
So your parents, they are from South Africa?
Mum's Swiss, my dad's South African.
Amazing. Oh, wow. That's great. And where are you based right now in England?
In Surrey, just outside of Guildford.
Amazing. So I know you are a coach, yeah? So tell me a little bit about your journey, how everything started.
Yeah. So back in April 2021, I finally went into rehab for drugs and alcohol. And whilst I was in there, I was helping other people to start understanding themselves at a deeper level. And I left thinking I wanted to become a psychotherapist. But then the reality hit me that I'll have to then go and study for 3 to 7 years or however many degrees you want to do. And I was never very good at studying. So I worked the 12-step program, did that for 6 months, and then ended up leaving because I found it very frustrating that people were just coming and unloading into the room and not addressing that underlying cause, which we were able to do in rehab, because we had a 2-hour process group every morning where one person comes in and shares, I'm feeling so frustrated today because of X, Y, and Z. Another person that says, yeah, I've been feeling the same way, and this is what's helped me in the past. And we start unpacking together rather than just unloading. And then I wanted to continue to understand myself, because when I went into rehab, I needed to know the reason why I was an addict, why I couldn't stop, why whenever I tried I was never able to succeed. And then got a bit of sobriety under my belt, and I still hadn't answered that question fully, because the idea that I was born that way still didn't sit right with me. So then I got into a 9-month intensive coaching program where I basically had layer upon layer just peeled back and got coached myself and unpacked a lot of my own kind of challenges through that, and then started working in the addiction space, because I'm wanting to bring that wider awareness onto the topic and into the subject. So I feel it's still slightly misunderstood.
I really like your journey, the way things, you based on your real life, you kind of enter a journey to help others as well, based on your own experience. I think that's fascinating. Amazing. So during the interview, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your journey so far, okay? But before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I'd like you to tell me something interesting about yourself, or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Back in August last year, I was diagnosed with type 1 autism.
Okay. Wow. Did you have any sign of it, or just decide to have a checkup?
So someone very close to me was diagnosed earlier in the year, and then had a few partners telling me that I might be neurodiverse. So I thought I'd go in, have a chat with them, and I scored very high on the tests. And then, I started to, when I was working in a psychiatric ward, I started to see a lot more people with autism. And I started to realize that, okay, maybe I do show a lot of these traits. But I also think I might have ADHD, which kind of, they do work together. So I'm not as rigid in certain things as someone who, say, just has autism is. Because the ADHD then wants me to basically pull away. But if someone changes my plans, then I normally just shut down and internalize it and walk off. But now, after lots of personal development work, it's me just trying to protect myself and not exploding.
Amazing. I think. Oh, sorry, carry on. Sorry.
No, yeah.
I was about to say that I had an interview with a lovely man. He mentioned as well about autism, and he said something that he made me think. I think all of us, we have somehow a level of autism. You know what I mean? We are very proactive. There is something about there that if you're gonna go look into it, there is something there, I believe, as well.
Yeah. So with the autism, everyone, or the massive majority of people will have autistic traits. But in order to be diagnosed with autism, it has to be having a detrimental effect on your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the same like ADHD. I remember like growing up in the 80s back in Brazil, and even as an adult, I never heard this term before. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, now it makes sense. A lot of things back in our childhood. Amazing. Rex, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Full of random fun questions. I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question. Okay? Just let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to answer, you don't want to talk about, always can change, okay?
I'm quite an open book, so ask away.
Great, you're in the right place. First question is, what are you most passionate about?
Ooh. I think either I'm most passionate about. I think I feel the most passion when I see resistance in clients, and we're on the verge of a breakthrough, and they're wanting to go, but they're kind of just like edging. I absolutely love that part because I know there's so much beauty and freedom on the other side.
And why? People. And why do you think people have this resistance to get to the right point, or to open up a little bit more? Why is that?
It can be incredibly uncomfortable. It can be something that they have never done before, and there can also be a fear of it being overwhelming, it making them go crazy, it being too much, and them not being able to contain it, handle it, or be with it.
And why that fascinates you? Why you get passionate about these moments?
So I think because for years and years, I was never able to be self-reflective and actually start opening up to people. That when I finally did open up, I felt so much more freedom, and I know that beauty is there, and that's what I'm wanting other people to experience.
And what was the turning point in your life that you felt like, okay, I can be open, I can talk about that. It's not wrong with that.
So I think it was around 1 week into rehab. I was in a process group, and the therapist saw me sort of rubbing my hands, and she asked me, "Rex, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Felt perfectly fine." And he said, "Oh, because I'm noticing you're rubbing your hands quite a lot." So okay, what does that mean? And he said, "Well, can you grab a pillow and just squeeze it?" So I was like, "Okay, I'll try it." So I squeeze the pillow, and I start to feel this really uncomfortable sort of red and orange spinning circle inside of me, sort of coming up and going down and coming up, and I was really fighting it. And eventually, a memory popped up of when I was a very young kid, of something that I'd done that I'd suppressed for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally allowed myself to speak it to my peers, I started crying for the first time in years. I felt this like blue internal explosion of just freedom and relaxation and openness. And from that moment onwards, I was able to draw in color rather than just black and white.
Wow, beautiful, amazing. Next question. Hey, Rex. Next question for you is, what does family mean to you?
Family is people that you can trust, the people you can turn to in your darkest times, and they will always be there for you, wanting the best for you, and support you to the best of their abilities.
Which person in your life, in your family, you feel more close to right now?
My mum and my brother.
Okay. So both of them, they are watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send them a message. What would you say?
So to my brother, thank you very much for allowing me to and encouraging me to create the change that I've created now, for helping me in possibly my darkest time, and actually approaching the subject of sobriety and getting help in a very gentle, supportive, and acknowledging way. You're the one that allowed me to make that decision and take that next step. So thank you.
Wow, beautiful. Saying that, what's the biggest difference between you and your brother, and the biggest similarity?
Biggest difference is he can be very forceful with his opinions and remarks, and is very loud. I'm quite I prefer to observe and watch and take in information. He likes to project.
Right.
But the biggest similarity is probably our stubbornness. Yeah.
Amazing. I love the honesty. You are the older or the younger?
I'm younger.
The younger. Wow. There's a big gap between both or not?
Only 18 months.
Okay, it's not that far.
Not too far now.
Next question. Let's do it. Rex, before the next question, tell me, what's the biggest joy of being a coach? What do you like the most about it? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging about your profession?
Yeah. Love that question. So the joy I feel is in the feedback from my clients, from hearing them utilizing the tools that we've worked on in the sessions to actually bring them into everyday life. And then an event that would have been triggering 3 weeks ago, then being able to navigate it and move through it without even wobbling. And kind of hearing the joy and the pride in their voice is incredibly rewarding.
And the flip side, what do you find challenging about your career?
Flip side is getting consistent clients has proven tricky in the past,
Mhm.
and getting those that align fully with me, and the ones that are especially in the addiction niche, finding the right time to support their sobriety
Mhm.
can be quite sort of quite a narrow window, so to say.
Right. Of course, being a coach, I believe that, you deal with a lot of energy, a lot of, deep conversation can be, quite deep as well and hard and difficult. My question for you is, how do you find a way to protect your inner self? Like, for you not to get involved somehow, because of course, being a coach, you put yourself in their shoes, somehow there is a connection there. You need to be, connect very deeply with the person you are treating. Um, but of course you need to somehow look after yourself as well at the same time to be able to do your job. So what do you do about that?
So for me, the gym is a massive part of about my own mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have quite a natural capacity to hold quite a lot from sort of going through life and internalizing everything and just thinking everything is on me. So my natural ability to hold a lot is already there. But also during sessions, making
Mm-hmm.
sure you're not feeling, what is it? Not something. So you can feel compassion
Yeah.
for the person. You feel basically when you're coaching someone,
Mm-hmm.
don't allow yourself to feel what they're feeling and feel sorry for them,
Right.
but envision how they would have felt, and also remember to pick up the hammer. So if someone comes along and says, this is a traumatic event, but doesn't actually acknowledge it being a traumatic event. So saying,
Mm-hmm.
when I was 3 years old, my mom died, but then I was also moving around different schools, stopping them there and then and saying, okay, look, you've brushed over something quite big. I'm sure that was very challenging for you. Let's start to unpack it.
I see.
And sort of allowing them to go a little bit deeper on things that they sometimes just brush over.
I see.
And then there's also a tool that one of my mentors told me is, after a very heavy session, to get up, shake around, move things around, or do some meditation and envision a purple flame within you, that
Mm-hmm.
all of that kind of intense energy is just going into and burning up.
I
And you
see.
don't hold on to it.
Amazing. Okay, next question is, what is your favorite place in the entire world and why?
Or favorite place in the entire world. Probably sunsets on Cable Beach in Broome, Australia. It's had some very good memories there, and
Mhm.
the sunsets are phenomenal. Every night you're guaranteed an incredible sunset. I've seen purple skies, I've seen blues, I've seen reds, oranges, like little hints of green. Just the sunsets are incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you picture yourself living not in another country, like sometime soon, or do you plan to stay in England? What's your goal about living somewhere?
Yeah. So my goal is to create financial freedom through my coaching practice. So
Mhm.
then I can move myself and someone very close to me out to Australia for 3 months to a year and go traveling and sort of live out there, kind of see the world a bit more. I'd love to travel a lot more of the world, as I've been to lots of countries where I don't feel I've traveled, and that makes sense.
See. Okay. Next question. Ready? Let's do it. Next one. You like dancing? Next question for you is, if you could have a superpower, what that would be and why?
I think immortality.
Wow, it's a good one. Tell me
Yeah.
about it.
So I'd love to see how the world kind of develops in 1,000 years.
Wow.
I can see the future that way. I'd also take a lot more risks. I knew I've got, no matter what happens, I can't get killed. So take a lot more sort of risks and put myself in more dangerous situations.
Interesting.
Either that one or teleportation, so I could travel the world.
And if you could go anywhere right now in the world, right this moment, where would you go?
Probably Australia.
I can see your connection with Australia, very strong connection there.
Yeah.
Anywhere specific?
The West Coast. For me,
Right.
that's more what Australia is. It's outback, big open spaces. So yeah, I'd like to see more of Australia there.
What's the meaning of life for you, Rex?
Meaning of life. Some very good questions. I think the meaning of life is to experience it, to do things that make you happy, to find joy and happiness, and also allow yourself to experience the lower emotions, the sadness, the anger, everything, just being able to experience all that life has to offer.
And so far, what's the most thoughtful lesson that life has taught you?
That no matter what, I will find a way out of anything.
Wow. Great. Okay. Next question. Before the next question, Rex, as you talk very open about your addiction journey, about your, sober journey right now, tell me the moment when you realize that, okay, I need to start a new journey. I need to change my life. I cannot be in this place, again or always. I need to change something. Did something happen, or just felt like it's time now? Tell me a little bit if you can.
So I knew I had a problem for about 2 years. I was sort of going back and forth between sobriety and relapse, and I'd get a couple weeks, maybe a month at a push. I think once I got 2 months, or maybe even 6 weeks. And I was fully aware that I had a problem. I even tried to get to an online meeting, but couldn't bring myself to actually join. And then, back in April 2021, I was massively in my overdraft. I was thinking about selling my phone, and the only thing that stopped me was that if I sell my phone, how can I call my dealer? So I was like, I can't do that. So then I called my brother up saying, can I borrow £500 so I can get out of my overdraft, so I can get a couple bags and then be sober enough to drive home. And he said to me, look, Rex, it's incredible that you've tried to get sober in the past, and it has worked. You've managed to get a couple weeks, even a few months, but it hasn't stuck. Do you think it's time for you to get some professional help?
Wow.
And because he phrased it that way, it allowed me to first feel seen and heard and acknowledged for my attempts. And then that opened me up to basically to be able to make the decision whether I wanted to get professional help or not, which I did. I was like, thank you so much. And then he went on to say, also, how do you think I'd feel if I sent you over the money, woke up in the morning and heard on the news you wrapped your car around a tree? I was like, it's very, that allowed me to start seeing the bigger impact that my addiction had been playing on not only myself, but on my family as well. And then a couple of weeks went by, and just this constant need to understand the reason why was playing over and over in my head. And if I hadn't gone into rehab and I just worked the 12 steps, I don't think it would have been, I think I'd be in a very different place today than I actually am.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the positive outcome from that challenge journey that you were facing at the time, that you lost, you're, in a challenge place where you couldn't, be your truly self? What's the positive outcome that when you look back?
I think that is positive outcome is I know my family will always be there for me, even when I can't be there for myself. I can always lean and trust my family too. No matter what, I will find a way to get what I need. It hasn't always been in the healthiest ways or the most honest ways, but that's something I've changed and I'm changing. Is having that ability to get after what I need when the goal is super clear. Doing whatever it takes. That's what an addiction has shown me, is no matter what, I will get what I need, and I will find a way.
And if you had the superpower of, let's see, going back through everything you went through, or if you could erase that part of your life, would you erase it or would you keep it, knowing the person you are today?
No, I'd keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very, very fun to begin with, and there are some good memories attached to it.
Yeah.
This also allowed me to gain understanding and experience to start having a bigger impact on many more people's lives and kind of change the way people view it. Whereas if I write it off completely, then the world will be missing quite a big thing.
Do you feel like you're living your best life right now?
I'm on my way there.
Cool. All right. Next question is, what keeps you up at night?
Keeps me up at night. I'm usually quite good at sleeping, but the things that sometimes keep me up at night is if I'm planning sort of a launch or thinking about different ways to get in front of more people, or sometimes my brain is just running rampant on random little things, and I just can't switch off. But I find that as long as I've put my phone down by 9:30 or 10, I can be asleep by 11.
Wow. Yeah. Do you consider yourself to be more of a morning person or evening person?
Early morning. I'm up at 5 every day.
Wow. Do you have like a morning routine that you do every morning or not?
Yeah. So I wake up, write 10 things I'm grateful for and an affirmation, and then get up, contacts in, brush my teeth, get downstairs if I'm working, put my food together, drive to work. If I'm not working, then go to the gym. Just something to get me up and out of the house quickly.
Wow. And the weekends, you have the same routine as well at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Every day.
Wow, impressive.
And when I'm working, it's a 12.5-hour shift. So I need to be at the hospital by 7, and then I finish at 7:30.
Right.
And then on those days, I'm back home by like 11, and then up again the next day at 5:30.
And what do you work on your day job?
I'm a senior healthcare support worker at a psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah. That's part of the reason why I got into it, is because I wanted to help people who are more on the extreme side. So there's lots of de-escalation, lots of regulation tools, and kind of helping people there and then and trying to give them tools and strategies. And I've dealt with a lot of self-harm, and I see that as a form of addiction. So trying to educate and create some curiosity within themselves, which has been very, very rewarding.
Amazing. Rex, when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the biggest joy of being Rex? What do you like the most about being you?
I do what I want.
Yeah. What's your star sign astrology?
So I'm on the cusp, but I've done some research, and I'm a Gemini.
Gemini.
I grew up believing I was a Taurus, but I'm a Gemini. Not sure what the other ones are. On the Chinese year of the rat, so I won the race.
Okay.
And I'm a manifesting generator, if you know anything about.
You are, so your birthday is April, May?
May 21st.
May 21st. Okay.
Gemini, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Cool. 3 questions left. Let's do it. Next question is, who is your biggest hero?
I always struggled with this in school. It's like I never had a hero. I actually don't have a hero.
Okay.
To be completely honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you have like growing up or nowadays, do you have like someone that you kind of be inspired by?
No, I think because of my interest changed so frequently, I never and I was never that fussed about sports or anything. So I didn't grow up thinking, oh, I want to be like this footballer. I just grew up trying to survive and fit in whilst doing sort of my own thing. I was more aware of people's body language, what they were doing, what the energy of the room was happening. So I knew if it was safe for me to go in school, on the playground, wherever it was. So I was focused more on my peers than kind of heroes or what I wanted to be, as I had no idea. Yeah, it took me a long time.
I see.
So only when I got into coaching, I realized who I actually wanted to be and what I wanted to do.
And when you think about South Africa, your childhood, what's the best memory that comes to your mind?
So I grew up in Kenya, but it's a mistake everyone makes. Best memory is my childhood in Kenya is playing and taming warthogs. So we had one warthog in the house we lived, who basically was wild. We started taming her. She then had 2 piglets, and then one of those piglets had 3. And by that 3rd generation, they used to just run up to us in the garden, roll over, we'd scratch their bellies, they'd eat bran out of our hands. And just feeling that kind of connection to nature and that freedom, which at the time I didn't appreciate as much as I can now. Yeah.
And when was the last time that you got back there?
So I went back in January
okay.
for a holiday. But before that, I hadn't been back for years.
I see.
Like 7 years.
And your mom, you said she's Swedish or Swiss? Swiss, okay. And you get to see Switzerland as well sometimes, or?
I'm going there in June for the first. This will be the first time I've ever been. I'm going on holiday.
Oh, really?
We're mostly English. That's where we spend most of the time. But we do love traveling.
Wow. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Before the next question, we were talking about men, you know what I mean, based on our also, story that's, men, there's this stigma that men, we cannot cry, we cannot talk about emotions, we cannot open up. It's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of, not being strong man, which is completely opposite. I think, a big sign of being strong is when you ask for help, when you cry, when you show your emotions. My question for you is, what's the biggest cause of mental health issues in the world right now related to men? What's something that do you think that men get to this point where they're struggling with that?
Having no one that they can lean on, nobody that they can turn to and trust, because a lot of friendship groups, when your mate comes to you and says, look, mate, I'm really struggling with this, they'll either punch you on the arm and say, oh, crack on, mate, it'll be all right. And they feel they can't open up to their partners because their partners lean on them quite a lot for emotional support. And there's one phrase which one of my mentors told me, is true strength is in the courage to be vulnerable. And opening up and being vulnerable allows things to move through you rather than just building and building and building and building and then you exploding and sort of snapping at things which shouldn't really cause you to snap, and having a, I'm trying to remember what phrase it was. Oh, I loved it for a while. It's like a I always forget it. It's basically an overreaction to something. The reaction wasn't justified for the cause, but phrase a lot better.
I think nowadays with social media, people like you, you know what I mean, you are showing through your page, you know, reality and helping people. I think men nowadays, they're more conscious about that. However, it's still a long way to go because we have this big stigma where you cannot, you know, show this vulnerable part of you, which is it's just amazing.
Then you also have your who was it? I can't remember the guy's name. Basically refers to Love and Light Lindas and Spiritual Steves. So you've got sort of one extreme, which is your sort of generic stoic man of no emotions, sort of very black and white. This is the way, this is it, emotionless. And then on the other side, you've got the Spiritual Steve, so all emotions and flow and have really channeled that feminine energy in. And trying to find that middle ground is where the sweet spot is, of being able to hold someone in an emotional space, because you can only hold someone as deep as you've been willing to go yourself. So if someone comes at you with a big emotion, unless you're in touch with yours, you can't hold them. But if you have so many emotions and you're so flowy, then adding that on can feel like you're gonna topple over, rather than being a sturdy place where someone can lean and push up against you and you not budge. So trying to find that middle ground. And that comes from doing your own deeper work.
Do you cry easily, Rex?
A lot more easily than I have done for a while. Sobriety has definitely helped, and all the personal development work, sort of actually connecting with my emotions. Sometimes cry in films. If I see other people cry, I used to always cry, but that was, I think, autistic mirroring of, you're crying, okay, yes, it's okay to cry. So that gave me permission to feel that same emotion.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I no longer suppress it. Whereas for years, I'd feel this massive wave rushing up to my neck and I'd just shove it down and hold it. And just, I remember I was in quite an unhealthy relationship and my partner was getting really frustrated at me because I wasn't really engaging, and we were doing this webinar, and she basically pounded my heart and then squished my face, and I just felt this massive wave of rage just building up, and I felt that if I actually release this, I'm going to do something that I basically won't know what I'm doing. I'll push her or hurt her. So I contained everything, held it in, tears streaming down my face, and just locked it away in my heart in a little vial. And then I just had this rage inside, and I had to work with coaches and do some anger releases. And for years, it only felt safe for me to actually release the anger underwater, because I felt no one could hear me. It felt very safe.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Interesting. Oh, wow. That's great. Okay. Next question is, what did you want to be growing up?
I had no idea. It ranged from I wanted to be a rally car driver. That's still something I would love to do. I love racing cars. I love driving fast. Love go-karting.
In Australia.
Yeah, I'd love to get like a dune buggy in, like a proper one, and go cruising up and down the dunes. But yeah, in school I had no idea what I wanted to do growing up, so I messed around, didn't see the point in studying the subjects I didn't like, and kind of just floated through, and then thought I wanted to be a chef, then thought I'd join the army, didn't get in, and bounced around loads of different things until I wound up in personal development. I was like, this is what I'm called for. I've had all this life experience and this training, I want to bring this to the world so people don't have to suffer the same way that I did.
Did you have a favorite teacher growing up?
I had a few, yeah.
Yeah.
One of my maths teachers, loved him. Very patient, very engaging, taught things in ways that I could grasp and understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the teachers that taught in a way that I could understand really loved.
I see.
Yeah.
Last question, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Last one. But before the last question, through your career as a coach, tell me a moment or a situation that you're never going to forget, that's, left a mark in your heart, or something that you're always going to remember, if you can share.
So it was during my training. We had trio calls every week. So you come on, there are three of you for half an hour, you coach someone gets coached, then one person is basically there to give you feedback afterwards. And this is where kind of I really honed in on my love for triggering people. So I could see a lot of resistance in the client, and they said, "Oh, this is really uncomfortable." And I came in with a big smile, saying, "Yes, I'm absolutely loving this. Like, let's go deeper." And because I came in with that kind of joyous energy and that kind of curiousness, it allowed them to go a little bit deeper and start to feel safe going to that next level. That, as well as also when I was being coached myself, facing off with the demons inside and all the different parts of myself, and my way of painting a visual picture, and actually beginning to learn and understand that those parts that I've always deemed bad and unhealthy and destructive are actually just wanting to be seen and felt and heard and acknowledged and befriended. Hence my website's Befriend Your Beast.
Wow. Cool. Last question is, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or not, who that would be and why? I love your silence. I love your silence.
I'll have dinner with myself back in probably towards the last few months of my addiction.
Wow.
Sit down and try and get him to open up and share what was actually happening, what they're feeling, and be there for him.
Wow. Question for you, Rex. What do you think that, when you were addicted to that, what was the escape? What's your escape from? Like when you were, in that, let's say, journey, what was, when you look back now, what was missing, or what to try to hide, or what to try to run from, what was that?
So I had a lot of suppressed trauma I hadn't even acknowledged or was even aware that I'd been through. I was hiding from my emotions, only allowing myself to feel small bits of joy, because I would just shut everything off. When you suppress one, you suppress them all. And I felt very, very alone, very sort of excluded from the group. So this allowed me to feel more confident, like I could walk into the room and be a presence and be heard, acknowledged, and I felt seen. So it was my way of almost being important. And it also created an identity for myself when I had none.
I see. Cool. It's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words, just one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Yeah.
One word for money.
Tough.
What?
Tough.
Okay. Fear.
Joy.
Love.
Happiness.
Family.
Love.
Life.
Brilliance.
Religion.
God.
Sex.
Playful.
Politics.
Boring.
Friendship.
Challenging.
I like that. Desire.
Compassion.
Regret.
Pain.
Success.
Freedom.
Wish.
Granted.
Happiness.
Play.
One word for Kenya.
Wild.
One word for England.
Grey.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
One word for Australia.
Open.
And the last one now, coach. One word.
Support.
Amazing. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your brother for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your brother, just define Rex in one positive and one negative word only, what he would say.
The negative. Lost.
Okay.
And positive. Compassionate.
If I would ask the same question to your best friend, would be the same answer?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Let's play now, Rex, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. But before you ask me the question, someone watching this interview right now, maybe they are facing, addiction trouble. Maybe they are in a journey where they cannot find their way out. Maybe they are, or maybe experience someone, their loved ones, have the same journey, and they don't know what to do about it. What would be your best piece of advice for those people?
So if a loved one is sort of going through it and you're wanting to support them, you don't know how, approach it in the same way my brother did. So acknowledge any previous attempts they've had, and then lovingly suggest it's sort of, do you ask them, do they now think it's time to get some professional help? There are loads of free resources online. I've actually got a free downloadable workbook on do I have an addiction? So you could go through that with them, or give that to them, and then that will start creating awareness around the impact that it's actually having on themselves and their family. And then they might be open to start addressing it, working with someone, start uncovering the deeper layers as to why that addiction is still present. And also importantly, be there for them, but don't allow yourself to run over or overextended, or allow them, basically have firm boundaries with them. And they will push up against them, but remain firm and remind them, look, when you're ready to change, I'm all here for it. But if you'll continue living this way and impacting us and being destructive, I can't stand to see it.
I see. Back to the word association game again. One word for addiction.
First word that came to mind was challenging.
Okay, Rex, you can ask me a question now.
Yeah, I've thought about this, and if there was one thing that you wish you knew, understood, and most importantly believed when you were younger, what would it be?
Oh my God, what a great question. What a great question. And the first thing that came to my mind is, I've learned, as an adult, that maybe for the last 15 years, I would say, that it doesn't matter, you could be, there's no perfect person, but it doesn't matter who you are. I think all of us, we are trying to be a good person. We are trying to do the best, do good for people, the loved ones. But what I realized is, it doesn't matter who you are. There's always someone that, for one reason or another, they're not going to connect with you. They're not going to, it's a spiritual thing. I had when I look back, I had moments in my life that I had situations that people, I never done anything wrong to them. I was literally just maybe seeing them every day. I was in a workplace. I never interact with them, but for some reason, this person, I could feel that this person didn't like me, and I was trying to understand why, and I couldn't because, first of all, we never had daily interaction. We never had even like bad situation between us, but I could feel the person that, like, when I was around, the person wasn't there or didn't like my company there, and I could understand that, and I was trying to understand why this person doesn't connect with me, like compare with other people around me, and I could understand. And nowadays, I took this thing off my shoulders because I realized that doesn't matter who you are, what you do. There's always someone that's not gonna connect with you, and it's okay. It's okay. It's not wrong with that. Those people, they challenge us. They challenge us, make us try to understand a little bit more about us. And I'm so grateful for those people who crossed my path, and maybe they even didn't know that, but I felt like uncomfortable sometimes because I could feel, sometimes that we feel that when someone, for one reason or another, they cannot be around us. There's something there. And so I wish I knew that earlier on, because I spent so much energy of my life at the time trying to understand, trying to, sometimes I always try to be nice to them, just to try to create a connection there, but even though it wasn't there. And I tried hard. I was trying, and sometimes I was wondering, I was thinking, I was overthinking, I was putting myself in a situation that I had no other answer for that. Trust me, Rex, when I realized I literally felt so much relieved because I realized that. And again, still, I'm sure people gonna cross my path, and again, it's gonna happen the same thing as well. And nowadays, I'm more relaxed about that. I just respect the situation, respect them, and I'm grateful for them as well, because somehow they make me think, they put me outside my comfort zone to try to understand that there's something there. And in the end of the day, there's nothing. It's just a spiritual thing that I cannot connect with them, and it's totally right with that. So yeah, that's something that I wish I knew that earlier, for sure.
Amazing answer. Yeah, we definitely don't need to have everyone as our friends, and
Totally.
when you try and force things that aren't right, you're basically stopping the things that are right from coming into your life.
Absolutely. And they're not our enemies. It is just that they just don't connect with us. You know what I mean? We're just in a different path that they are. And they're not bad person. They're just different person. That's not, it doesn't, for one reason or another, they didn't mean to cross your path. You know what I mean? Not meant to cross your path, or to agree with you, or to be in the same situation as you. And it's so totally okay with that. So when I was young, I wish I knew that I would put myself in a different path for sure, because I was spend hours and hours trying to understand that. But anyway, yeah, lesson learned.
Amazing.
Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. It's been nice to get to know you. And can you leave us with a inspirational quote?
Totally, please. I was about to ask for that, but before that, Rex, I would like to tell you to say thank you very much for taking the time for the interview, and also thanks for being so open and talk about your challenges in life. I think people, they appreciate that, because seeing someone talking so open about that, somehow you never know who's watching this interview right now, and they might appreciate that for sure. So thanks again for being so open. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
There are a couple mantras which I live by. The one that's most ingrained is slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Good one. Yeah, simple as that. Amazing. Thanks again, regards to your family and friends, and you keep in touch. Okay, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Okay, have a good night.
Thank you, William.
Take care. Bye-bye. Take care. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.